Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Hearthstone deck spotlight. Today, we're going to be taking a look at another Elementalcore100 creation. Definitely go check them out on YouTube, on Twitter, on everywhere, on Hearthstone. Fantastic content creator, always coming up with some really nifty, interesting decks, and this is no exception. We have the Murloc Rogue. So we've seen Mage after the Mana Worm nerf. We've seen a second, third, fourth, fifth coming of Murloc Mage. A fantastic deck that has a lot of very aggressive Murloc elements, very good at flooding the board, very good at getting a lot of early minion damage in, and then using cards like Fireball and other burn cards to kill your opponent, while also having a little bit of extra gas with cards like Book of Spectres as well. So Murloc Rogue kind of has a lot of similar elements in that it is playing a lot of the good Murlocs. We've got Tidecaller in here, we've got Bluegill Warrior, Rockpool Hunter, Coldlight Seer, Murloc War Leader, and Gentle Megazord to cap everything off. But rather than having burn in the deck, we have a lot more ways to grind our opponent and keep minions on the board and maybe recover from board clears, which is something that Murloc Mage generally struggles against. Murloc Mage is better if you get as much damage in, leave your opponent on a single digit amount of health, and then kill them with a Fireball. Instead, we have cards like Elven Minstrel, we have Sprint, combined with Shadow Step as well, so we can actually start drawing a lot more Murlocs from our deck. And we've also got Vilespine Slayer in here, another great card to help pick off individual targets, and we can also reset that with the Shadow Step as well. Other than that, we've got some other aggressive Murloc elements. Murloc Raider, this is generally a sign of an extremely aggressive Murloc deck, because this card is so bad in a vacuum, it's absolutely horrendous. And we've also got Grimscale Oracle in here, which is another kind of Murloc Raidery card where it's just so anemic and such a liability against all these 1-damage hero powers that you're really taking a big risk from playing it. We've got a Cold Blood in here, which I can definitely get behind. Make sure we are punching hard with our Murlocs, but we've got to be careful to make sure we put Cold Blood on the right kind of target, especially if we're hoping to get 2 hits off rather than 1. Onto the 2-drops, we've got the Bluegills, we've got the Tide Hunter, which is going to really pump up our Tidecaller. In fact, people mentioning in chat before, Shadow Step on the Tide Hunter with a Tidecaller in play can make this thing grow ridiculous. We've also got the Rockpool Hunter, which is our best turn 2 play following up from a Tidecaller, or really any of these 1-drops as long as they stay in play. We've got the 3-drop Seer, War Leader, even Primal Fin Lookout. This is once again adding to that grindy nature of the deck that we're going to be able to hopefully discover some sweet Murlocs to stay in play, maybe some extra War Leaders and things like that. SI7, kind of a lonely one of SI7 in here. A little bit of extra reach for the deck, which I can definitely get behind. The Minstrels, the Megazord, and everything else we've mentioned, just the one Sprint in there. So we're going to be looking to see how does this deck compare to Murloc Mage. We're going to be trying to focus on getting as much damage in as possible because we don't have that reach. And one thing that I am going to look out for is if this SI7 is better off as like a Leroy or something like that. I'm not sure if Elementalcore uploaded this with the intention of it being budget. I think they did. I think it is budget Murloc Rogue. But even a card like Reckless Rocketeer or something like that could add another really interesting element to this deck because we have so many ways to draw cards and ways to draw minions out of our deck. So we'll jump into some games and see how we go with this Elementalcore100 budget Murloc Rogue. Alright, here with the Murloc Mage, up against a Shaman. Could be a nightmare here. Lightning Storm, very good against us. We do have the Tidecaller. Show me the Rockpool Hunter. That ain't it. I'd love to try an odd Murloc Rogue, where you just play like the 1-drops, play the 3-drops. Maybe it'll be better once Gentle Megazord rotates out and you don't have like a massive reason to play play both. I mean, we could Bluegill Warrior trade attack, trade here. But I think I just want to kill this for free. But yeah, if there was a site like Hearthstone for Magic, ooh, rough.
Here we go.
Part of me is tempted to like shadow step this and kill the Flame Tongue Totem, but I think we need an enabler for this Elven Minstrel, and if our opponent gives us an opportunity to like shadow step, like attack shadow step Elven Minstrel, then we should take it. Whoa, not you, buddy.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
We can trade in over here. Make things a little bit difficult for our opponent. Hopefully they don't have Earthen Might or something. Earthen Might would be sick right here. It would be so sick. So sick from our opponent. Come on, do it. Do it to me. Rawr. So this looks like the burn, the Dexter's Burn Shaman. That deck was playing the Unbound Elementals. Punished for not keeping our 0 mana Elemental. 0 mana Murloc. Ta-da! Take this Cold Light Seal. Let's see what happens. What's our opponent got? This deck doesn't play Lightning Storm from memory. No, they might. What else though? Glacial Shard trade. That's a good one. That's a good one to get. Alright. Trade you. You can die. You can die. We do want to minimize the amount of face damage our opponent can do, because they can kill us from a very a reasonably high life total. You know, I would say 12 is, you know, that old like double fireball mark is. It's probably about the same for this deck, maybe a little bit lower. It's a pretty bad one. Anemic follow up. What's in our opponent's hand then? What are they not deploying here? Ah, got him. GG. Okay, here with the budget Murloc Rogue up against a Warlock. If this is even lock, this might be a bit of a nightmare matchup. Now, I'm very tempted to keep this Murloc, this Rockpool Hunter. We do have 3 1-drops that we can draw into, and we've got 4 shots at it. This hand would be so good if we had the 1-2-3 curve into the Cold Light Seer, but help us dodge those Hellfires. I think we really got to try and get that 1-drop. There we go. Tidecaller. Now, if this is even lock, come on, Zoolock trading a Librarian for a Tidecaller. That kind of sucks. Llamas spit. Camels don't. Camels kind of sit there and take it. Sit there and support the buttocks of the rider. Why do you call?
In the light's name.
In whose name? Alright, Zulok. Do your worst. This could be a 5-power light warden we're gonna see.
Stop copying me!
Stops copies me.
Stop copying me!
There's no way we can kill that light warden this turn, is there? Don't think so. I think we'll just take the biggest bodied thing.
Here we go.
We've already got a couple of cheap boys, so we should be okay. It's going to be a real interesting matchup given the grindy nature of Zulok being able to tap so often, but our deck also having quite a lot of grind, and with an early Elven Minstrel as well. We may in fact be able to deploy such things. Shadow Step. So I think we can go for the Tide Caller here, because at least pumping it to 2 power means it trades with either of these cards. Which is what we were so, what was so unfortunate early on, is that
Unleash me.
no, you don't want to trade with the prized amalgam. Ugh, this kind of sucks. It really sucks. It sucks to trade a Flame Imp for a Wall Eater. Pharaoh has the other Despicable Dreadlord as well.
In the light's name.
It's a very good turn. Very good turn from our opponent.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
We'll keep this Minstrel in play. If we hadn't got the second Minstrel off of it, I'd be tempted to Shadow Step this back. Have you ever thought of recording some of your local Magic games and doing commentary over that? Definitely. I've definitely considered that. The problem is that... oh wow, there's the double Happy Goal. The problem with that is physical setups are not cheap and easy to do. Having recorded many Netrunner games and things like that in the past, can definitely attest to the difficulty. We could have Shadow Stepped the Tide Hunter and gotten some extra value. Unfortunately, our opponent's going to crack our skull in for 12, so we don't die to Doomguard, we do die to Leroy. Now we die to Doomguard. He did the math. He did the monster math. Who dares summon me? Yeah. There we go. So, interesting game there. Sure, there are a couple of decisions we could have made to give ourselves a better chance, but still learning what the deck wants to do, and especially learning these types of very volatile matchups. But GG, well played to our opponent.
Forest fights back.
The Forest fights back. We are up against Druid. This is what we were talking about in the introduction, where Murloc Raider, Grimscale Oracle are just massive risks against all these 1 damage hero powers. So much so that I don't think we can keep them. I think we really have to hit Tidecaller or bust. Is there a reasonably large scene for that area where you are? Magic or Hearthstone? Sure, whatever. If it stops our opponent from playing Wild Growth, like Coin Wild Growth or Wild Growth onto Magic, yeah, Melbourne probably has one of the bigger Magic scenes of Australia. Maybe they're saving it to coin out a swipe or something. Yeah, Magic, I mean, in Melbourne we have over a dozen Advanced Plus stores, which are, you know, fairly large stores. A lot of pre-releases, of course. Unfortunately, the GP that we had was kind of a bit disappointing in that it didn't hit 1,000, but I think previously Melbourne has had some of the biggest GPs in Australia. I think we've got a single store in the entire country? Yeah, I mean, put it this way, Melbourne players complain a lot about, you know, the state of the stores and things like that, but whenever people come from other countries or other states, they're always like, what are you complaining about? You have the most amazing stores and the biggest stores. One store in the entire country. Jeez. Granted, I've never been a Magic nerd, just sort of on and off. I think a lot of people are like that. The on and off magicians. So just diversify our threats here. Leave the 1 charge on the dagger. Are we actually going to be able to go under our opponent here? Did our opponent get that bad a draw? Blue Zombie Blood, I thought you weren't going to be on until Friday. I am! It is Friday. Friday in Australia. Maybe I should have mentioned that last time, but of course Friday means Australian Friday time. Sorry for the confusion. But yeah, we're on. We're here. Might be doing a Sunday stream as well. Sunday Australia time. Ugh, as much as I want to get this Elven Minstrel off, I think we gotta go for it. Once again, just diversifying our threats. But here is where the coin plague could come into play. Scandinavia in general, I don't think they took to the whole TCG genre. What did they take to then? You know, when you were in, like, you know, when you were 5 years old to 10 years old, what were the, like, the toys and hobbies and stuff like that? I mean, I assume that, you know, like, everyone had, like, in my head I'm like, oh, everywhere had Pokemon, but I'm sure there are countries out there where, like, Pokemon wasn't a thing, just as much as there were places where maybe Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic and other trading card games weren't a thing. So here's the difficulty. Oh my gosh, here's the difficulty again we talked about at the start, where unfortunately we don't have a lot of reach, which makes for some very awkward situations. And that Vilespine was really one of the worst draws in our deck because we really want to save it. We really want to trigger this Elven Minstrel. Maybe we shouldn't have played the Rockpool Hunter to minimize our opponent's Spreading Plagues as well. Trade, Spreading Plague. Nothing really. We definitely had Pokemon, but it was more a straight TV game thing. Card games definitely made it here, but it wasn't a hit. So it's midday and Friday in Australia. The more you know. Well, right now it's almost 3 o'clock. It's almost 3 p.m. in Melbourne. So I'll be heading off soon. Branching Paths. This is Armor. No! Do they have 2 Spellstones as well? What's our best draw here? Maybe another Rockpool Hunter?
Time grows short.
I guess kids here just go skiing or rock climbing or something. Yeah. That makes sense. Are those kind of like, not necessarily national sports or anything like that, but do you think that's a pretty common thing? Like, what percentage of people would you say play those things? Like, do those things? I guess we want to keep pushing.
Here we go.
Winter sports definitely a huge thing. Like 75%. At least when I was growing up, obviously tech got more advanced. Probably less than 50% now. Wow. I think even when I was in primary school, and definitely when I was in high school, I wouldn't even say 50% of people did a sport other than like at school. That's so interesting. I guess that's a nice part of the culture. People being a lot more active, probably being a lot more fit. There's a Spellstone. Is that the other Spellstone? They're going to naturalize. That is the other Spellstone. Spellstone's down.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
I think we'll hold this
Here we go.
to turn on our Vilespine or our Elven Minstrel. No use exposing ourselves to like a swipe or another Spreading Plague. It's not so much a sport in a sense that you're doing it to compete, like say football. It's something you do with family. Actually, that's true. I was watching the for the WCS finals for StarCraft, and they talk about Cyril, who's from Finland, I believe, and they talked about like I think hunting and stuff like that, and hunting and climbing and rock and like climbing mountains and stuff like that. And they talked a lot about how it was like a family thing, like it's something you all did together. And because they highlighted a lot about his journey, and also how his brother had gone through a similar journey, trying to become big esports superstar, awesome at StarCraft. And it was really interesting to hear that all that stuff was a really family orientated thing.
Now how about
Twig. Big twigs. Alright, Ultimate Infestation, next turn.
There once was a man from Gilneas.
So do we go Wall Eater for the extra 2 damage? Do we go for the Primal Fin? Be a bit more grindy. Go for the Rockpool Hunter. Get a bit more damage in. Let us dagger up. Because if they're going to Ultimate Infestation next turn, they're definitely going to kill this. And we might want that for next turn. So I think we're going to go for the Rockpool Hunter.
Here we go.
Yeah, still gets us a little bit of extra damage in, but also doesn't expose this War Leader to getting removed, which is ultimately what we want. I don't know if you Aussies go outback or anything. Yeah, like people definitely do that. People definitely go like,
What if?
you know, if you're in like farmland areas. No, I guess at least it's not Ultimate Infestation. People go outbacking. People go like nature hikes as well. Actually, probably about half an hour from where I am is a bunch of really popular like nature trails. Oh my gosh, do we have to deal another 12 damage this game? Yes, we certainly do.
Here we go.
Okay. I think we're in an okay position. We've got War Leader and Vile Spine Slayer. Prophecy! Oh my gosh, last 10 or so classic packs. Golden Gruul, Golden Veil, and Tyrion. Had to share. Definitely share that. Prophecy, good to see you. Hopefully you're having a fantastic week. You've had a fantastic week.
Let's see.
Always good to see your name in chat. Certainly a bonding experience, I think. And it's not something I think anyone else can relate to. Yeah, I don't think many people within Australia have a similar, and definitely not to kind of the cultural significance that you're talking about. I don't think a lot of white Australians have that same kind of bonding experience, that same kind of family bonding. But yeah, Golden Valen. Get that boy in a deck.
Now how about
Mouth. Malcolm Furion. Gonna take out one of my war leaders. You rat bastard. Oh. Tasty. Got him. Excellent. Okay, we're here with Elementalcore100's Budget Murloc Rogue. Really fun deck. As far as a budget deck goes, I think if you've got a lot of these Murloc pieces, this is a really good one to test out. You'll probably have a lot of success at those kind of, rank 20, maybe even all the way up to rank 10. We've got a lot of excellent cards in here that can be applied to other decks, be that Murloc Mage or other kind of aggressive Murloc decks, but also a lot of great rogue cards like Vile Spine Slayer, SI7. So a lot of good crafts in here. As far as the actual deck goes, as far as budget options, I think most of the budget options included in this deck are totally correct. I think you could maybe consider cutting the Murloc Raiders for a different option, maybe like even like a Deadly Poison or something like that. But they worked fine for now. The only other thing I'd like to see is some kind of reach at the end, whether that's like a Leroy for a non-budget option, or even a Reckless Rocketeer as a budget option. And of course, cards like Faldora Strider could allow the deck to have a bit more grind and stuff like that. But big shout outs to Elemental Core 100, one of the favorites of mine. Definitely go check out their stuff on YouTube, on Twitter, everywhere you can. Check the link in the description if you're watching on YouTube. Jump over to the Hearthstone deck article. Give this one a +1. Do it. Give it a +1. I'm telling you. Leave a lovely, thoughtful comment, as I know you will. And until next time, stay safe, stay wavy, Murloc. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.